Hello, and welcome back to the Casey Undercover live reading series. This series exists to move through the manuscript as it unfolds. As we begin Chapter 6, Casey is in Wallamalsink, working at the library when a technical mining notebook, well, it's not just technical, there's a lot of personal notes in it too, is anonymously dropped off. It its references to breach reports and sealed sections of the chrome mine suggest the collapse that happened years ago may not have been as straightforward as the town remembers. What unsettles her most is not just the language, it's the proximity. The mine was active in the years before her parents disappeared. Her father's name lingers in places it shouldn't. What once felt like a private family tragedy of their disappearance is beginning to brush against something else. Chapter 6 opens as that connection stops feeling theoretical and starts feeling personal. Chapter 6, Casey Undercover, title of this book is Redacted. The library settles into an uneasy silence, the kind that lingers like a held breath, the dust motes suspended in a glow of fluorescence as they emit their erratic hum. I stand at the circulation desk, the mining notebook open before me, piles of books stacked around it like sandbags, shielding it from the prying eyes of the ever-present Nell, lest she show up without warning like a train barreling into the station. The notebook pages are filled with cryptic notes. I trace my finger over the words, whispering them aloud. They'll come for anyone who knows. There's a sketch of a wheel, each spoke labeled control, containment, production. Around it are more scribbled phrases, broken seals. The gatekeepers fell. History repeats. None of it makes sense. This is so obscure, I whisper, unaware I've spoken aloud. At that, the library door bursts open, the little bell clattering violently against the frame. An impossibly perky voice rings out, all lightness and charm, like the owner has just stepped into a party instead of into the world's most empty library. My heart clenches. I know that voice. I would know it anywhere. God, it's dead in here. She breezes in, carrying the scent of intriguing perfume and unjustifiably excessive confidence. And just like that, I am 16 again, standing in the shadow of Miss Perpetually Perfect, Jenna Price. This is what I get for moving back to my hometown. I shove the notebook into my bag as her voice again rings out, sprite and annoyingly unburdened. The bag now sits on the counter. Casey Layton, wow! She doesn't just walk in, she arrives like the moment has been waiting for her to fill it in. Her blonde ponytail sways, perfectly undone, and that just tumbled out of bed, though it actually took 45 minutes way. A camera bag, worn just enough to suggest serious artist, is casually slung over one shoulder. An oversized batik scarf billows behind her, a print no doubt acquired at some trendy boutique and not an impoverished village, and which goes spectacularly well with her thrifted Nehru jacket, a nod to more undefined cultural origins. The whole outfit screams anthropologic authenticity, and yet, the last time I checked, Jenna Price was the same age as me and not a Gen Zer. I grip the edge of the desk, my pulse suddenly uneven. Jenna doesn't notice my social panic. Of course she doesn't. Obviously, she picks now to show up, breezing in like she's making a red carpet debut. She's dripping with self-satisfaction and an infuriating, look at me, I'm effortless energy as she glides up to the circulation desk, flashing a grin full of sparkling white teeth. She stops in front of my counter, tilts her head, and adopts a look of genuine shock. Is that really you, Casey? I clench my jaw. Jenna? She leans on the counter, her gaze flicking over me, over the circulation desk, then over my back, assessing. With a rise of panic, I realize the notebook is partially in view. I shove it back inside the bag. Are you stacking books here, Casey, or are you on an undercover assignment? She whispers like she really wants to know. I shake my head and stamp a return book upside down. How strange running into you here, she says, if it wasn't as if it wasn't logistically possible not to run into absolutely everyone you knew in this blink and you miss it town. Yes, I say flatly, stamping the next book upside down. What a shock. Her blonde ponytail tail swings, a little too thick, a little too bouncy, and I just know it's my karma to be thrust back into this hell. I sat in back of her for in AP Lit for 2 years, always perfect, perky, always spot on accurate in her answers, always fully manicured and put together. And now, here she is, fresh as a daisy, almost 2 decades later, radiating confidence like a goddamn influencer on a sponsored retreat. I don't like goddamn. I would like a word in there that connotes some kind of, oh, I don't know, some expensive makeup influencer. Anyway, I stamp, stamp, stamp. She rests her forearms on the counter like she's about to ask for an espresso and asks, "Why haven't you called me, Casey?" I suppress the urge to scream into the void. Yes, it's been years since we spoke. It's been deliberate, intentional, necessary. But here she is, back in my immediate vicinity, which means I indeed offended some past life deity. She ignores my look of embarrassment and picks up where we left off, that time when we were friends, once, a long time ago, as we made it through the tribulations of high school, where I spent an embarrassing amount of time circulating in the gravitational orbit of Jenna Price. We weren't best friends, more like I was an eclipsed moon to her sun, drifting close enough to catch the spill of her light without being mistaken for the source. We both had wanted out of this town then. The difference was, I meant it. Jenna liked having one foot in every world, the AP classes, the volleyball team, sneaking cigarettes behind the bleachers with the bad kids. She could adapt, blend, absorb, a social shapeshifter with a gift for aligning herself with the temperature of every crowd. Me, I didn't blend. I didn't know how to. I was too blunt, too obsessive, too unwilling to let anything go. I thought being around her would help. Her gaze flicks to my bag again, and I recognize the shift, the barely perceptible flicker in her expression when she smells a secret. I can almost see the cogs turning in her head. Jenna knows about my parents. Of course she does. She knows about the investigations, the articles, the years I spent chasing ghosts and getting nowhere. And she is, of course, genuinely sympathetic. She tilts her head, eyes sharpening beneath their warmth. So, she says, her tone suspicious, what have you really been up to, Casey? I sigh, dreading where this is going. Not much, I say offhandedly, just working, keeping the library denizens from descending into anarchy, that kind of stuff. Jenna grins. Yeah, yeah, I don't buy that. You're undercover. Of course she would think that, knowing my obsession with unraveling mysteries. She's always been this way, digging into my recesses like I'm her personal playground, probing at things I'd rather leave untouched. She leans in with a lowered voice like she's about to say something deeply profound. This is about your parents, isn't it, Casey? I go still. God, I hated it when she did that. Always thinking she knew things. Truth is, she's right. The fact was, I had revered Jenna, not in a romantic way, nothing that textbook or fantastical. It was the infatuation. Sorry. It was the infatuation that I couldn't break free of, a pull that kept me watching her out of fascination and also of envy. Jenna was everything I wasn't: bright, shiny, effortlessly magnetic, the kind of girl who moved through life as if it had been designed for her. Teachers loved her, boys tripped over themselves around her, adults spoke to her like she was going places. While I had spent my life digging for understanding, Jenna glided through, taking the world as it was handed to her, polished and pre-approved. And yet, for all the times I told myself I wanted nothing to do with her, there was another undeniable truth. Because when my parents disappeared and I was left standing in front of a judge, barely 16, and scrambling to prove I could take care of myself, the state had other ideas. A minor cannot live alone. They wanted a legal guardian, someone to oversee my emancipation, some adult to check a box that said I wasn't just another kid lost to the system. And somehow, because of course it was Jenna's nature to help, she managed to hoodwink her parents into being that check mark. I don't even know how she did it. Maybe it was some grand impulsive act of charity that her parents sympathized with. Maybe she just liked the idea of being someone's savior. Maybe they all did. Maybe it was the thrill of breaking the rules in a way that only someone with no stakes in the game could enjoy. Regardless, she made it happen. On paper, I was under the care of Mr. and Mrs. Price, a wealthy, busy, and perpetual a wealthy and perpetually busy couple who didn't even notice when Jenna moved the places into I'm sorry, who may not have even noticed when Jenna moved the pieces into place. In reality, I lived exactly how I always had, alone, in the house my parents left behind for the year and a half it took to graduate and escape. For a long time, I let myself believe that Jenna did it for attention, for the story to tell later, or because she wanted to collect people, or because she liked to collect people like souvenirs. I let myself resent her, tell myself that I was just another one of her projects, a stray she took in for fun, nothing now more. But deep down, I knew the truth. For all her artificial trappings, for all her exasperating, perpetually chirpy attitude, Jenna Price's heart was solid to the core. That's what really pissed me off, because I could never hate her. She was the only person who had ever, without hesitation, stepped up for me when it mattered. And now, years later, here she is, sauntering back into my life, acting like no time has passed, like I should have expected this. And maybe I did. Jenna naturally does not take the hint that I am vastly uncomfortable, and her eyes again land on my bag. She smells the secret, and once Jenna catches a whiff of something juicy, she doesn't let go. "What are you up to?" she demands in a whisper. "You look positively guilty." "You always thought I looked guilty, Jenna." She smirks. "Because you usually were." And before I can shut this down, before I can admonish Jenna about curiosity and cats and what happens to them, Nell's voice slices through the air. I'm going to make that Nell's frigid voice slices through the air. "Still at the desk, Miss Layton?" Jenna issues a small guffaw. "Still pissing off authority figures, I see." I straighten up just as Nell materializes at the end of the stacks, her hawk gaze scanning the counter as she tries to discern what I'm up to. Jenna leans on the desk, fully entertained, as if this is a private play staged just for her. Nell zeroes in on me. "I didn't hear the printer start up. Have you processed the latest donations yet?" I clear my throat. I was about to." As I answer, I slip my bag containing the notebook onto a shelf under the counter. Nell's sharp gaze flicks to a box of books. "And the inventory sheet?" "Yes," I say quickly, getting to it. Jenna hums. Da 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 da, watching this all unfold like it's a dinner theater. And then the bag tumbles off the shelf and the notebook slips out, landing exactly at Nell's vinyl, pointy-toed feet. Jenna sees this. She sees everything. Before I can wrestle the tide of "oh no's" flooding my bloodstream, Jenna bends down like she has every right in the world and picks up the notebook. "Oh, wow," she says, turning the pages like she's just stumbled on something deeply interesting. Excuse me. "This looks archaic, Casey. You shouldn't be bringing it to the library." I stare, half in horror, half in awe. She's playing defense. But it's too late. Nell snatches the book from Jenna's hands, flipping through its pages. Her eyes widening as she does so. Jenna, unfazed, leans on the desk. "This looks like it could be very private." Nell barely glances up. She flips another page, but, excuse me, brows furrowing. "Where did this come from?" Nell asks, voice sharp. I open my mouth. Nothing comes out. And Jenna, to my relief, says, and Jenna, to my horror, says, "Wouldn't be the weirdest thing I've seen in a donation box." Nell looks shocked at the thought. Her fingers tighten around the cover. "Is this a donation, Miss Layton?" she demands, pulling the book out of our reach, my reach. My stomach sinks. I have to say, before I can think of what to say, Nell turns sharply on her little heels. Panic claws at me as she clickety-clacks away, flipping through the pages as she goes. And then the nail in the coffin. Jerry, the janitor, enters, pushing his cart past Nell. He moves slowly, his gait uneven, uneven, his free hand twitching at his side. Nell looks up. "Get rid of this," she says, tossing the notebook straight into his trash bag. Jerry fumbles an answer. Do it properly and make no mistakes, Nell snaps. And just like that, the notebook is gone. I freeze as Jerry shuffles away, his back to us. We're not going to let that happen, right? Jenna demands in a conspiratorial whisper. I shake my head in agreement. Jenna nods. Jenna grins. Good, because I was starting to worry you'd gone boring. She leans in. So, what's the plan? I stare at her, hating that I like having her here, hating that she knows it, and hating also that she's now 2 steps ahead. Thank you all for being here for this chapter. I'll see you at chapter 7. Bye now.